So here's the feminist redub of this clip. So this is a female cuttlefish showing up and saying, "Hi, I'd like to come in." She's saying that with her body. And he's saying, "Okay, it looks like it's a pretty dingy area. You know, not a lot of places to hide. Here's this giant, magnificent, iridescent rainbow pseudo squid willing to be your shelter that defends you too. Awesome. Awesome. And your friends can come too. It's great. It's perfect. All of her friends are under there. It's safe. This boss up here is keeping the juvenile males away. And it is important to prevent the juvenile males from mating because they're still developing. And that means that they might manifest genetic disorders that would be bad to pass on to the offspring. So it's actually evolutionarily better for dominant males to prevent immature males from mating. And yet here the male, being intelligent enough to recognize goal-directed conditioning, he is imitating females he has seen in order to gain access to the female-only space. And it works. And the reason that he wants access to that particular space is because he knows that that is the one space where he will have an opportunity to breed. It is an insemination opportunity that he is preoccupied with, so he is willing to risk injury and death from this other male in order to gain that insemination opportunity. He's willing to develop the psychological capacity for deception and mimicry of females in order to gain access to that female-only space for the purpose of the insemination opportunity. Why would males in humanity be any different?
Oh my goodness, we are going this far off the rails. We are getting this fucking unhinged that we are looking at fucking the animal kingdom. We are looking at motherfucking animals. And then we're comparing animals to trans people. Like, y'all already dehumanized the fuck out of us. Can you, like, stop? Can you not take it to this level? But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get into, like, why this rhetoric is so fucking stupid. It makes zero sense. And, like, the first thing that should cross your mind is that how in any way does animal behavior correlate with humans? We are so fucking incredibly different. Like, the thing that sets humans apart from animals is that humans have a fucking soul. Humans are fucking sociable creatures, right? Animals are sociable creatures too, but not to the level that we have. They haven't developed languages and societies and all these things. And the human need for interaction, the human need for companionship, validation, care, to have people around you. We were not made to go through life alone and shit, you know? Like, all of those needs are so much stronger than any animal because animals are pretty much all instincts. Animals act off of complete instincts, and I know that we have instincts too, but we also have a conscience. Animals do not have a conscience. Animals do not do right and wrong. They just do. So you're literally taking like a mating strategy that is used in the wild by a couple different types of animals, and you're saying like, oh yeah, this is clearly what fucking trans women are doing. They're just trying to fucking fake being a female to get close to the females to fuck fucking females. Which, like, can we think about like all the holes in this argument? Can we think about all of the logical fallacies that come up when you say shit like this? What about trans men? What about asexual people? What about the fact that there's trans women that are not attracted to women whatsoever? Like me, for example. Well, it's not that I'm not attracted to women. I think I'm like pansexual. Like right now I'm with my boyfriend. I've been with him 3 years and he's the only person I have been with as a trans woman. When I identified as a man, when I was living as a male, I dated several fucking females, cis females, right? And I have never dated a female as a trans woman. So like apparently I'm failing at this whole cuttlefish method, and like if this is like the smaller males that can't get a female and so they have to resort to this weird fucking tactic, if that's really what you view this as, then why the fuck did I get so much fucking female attention when I was like a man, when I was presenting as a man? Like, there's just so many flaws in this, and there's more to react to. It gets worse. She's gonna there's like a second video that I have here, and I'm just mind blown, because like here's the thing, is that this person has medical background. This person knows science, right? And that's all fine and dandy. They know all of that, and I love listening to all of the medical knowledge and science they have, because I've digged into this person. They have some cool fucking content, and they bring up a lot of good concerns. The problem is they'll take something that's scientific and then they'll apply it where it need not be. They will conflate things that do not need to be conflated and don't make any sense to be conflated. And beyond that, they'll take like a theory, they'll take like an idea, or they'll take a lack of knowledge that we have in the scientific community, in the medical community, and then they'll jump straight to conclusions. And they'll talk with 100% conviction. This person's straight up lying to you. They bring up a lot of good concerns, and I would love to have like valid conversations, good conversations, but we can't do that when you're like, hey, there's this like scientific thing and this is why this is happening. Like, no, that hasn't been confirmed. Who the fuck are you to say that? Like, fucking make a study, and I don't even trust you to make a study. So like, maybe like fucking like, if we could get a legitimate study done on this shit, and you could show me some like empirical factual proof, then you can go around talking like that. But just because you know medicine, you know science and shit, you can't fucking take these logical jumps to drawing conclusions, because you know that that's not how fucking, you know, scientific method works. That's not at all how it works. You have a theory, and then, you know, you write up your little thing, like what you think is gonna happen, and then you do a test, and you have to have a large group of people, and you have to have a control group, you have to have all that, and you have to have multiple people running the test to ensure that there's no biases. And then you have your conclusion. You're skipping the entire scientific method and you're jumping right to conclusions. But anyways, we're gonna break all this down. So strap in and get ready, because this is some shit. This is some fucking shit.
Respond to Jammy Dodger. I am working on a longer response. This one though, I want to highlight an example of her failing the mirror test, aggressively failing the mirror test. So in behavioral psychology and in animal cognition research, the mirror test is when you put like a mark of some sort, an indication, a blemish of some nature onto the face of an animal, and then stick it in front of a mirror and see if it can recognize that the dot is on its face, and see if it tries to clean the dot off. And most animals fail the mirror test. Humans, many of us anyway, pass the mirror test. And so in this example, Jammy's going to identify cuttlefishing manifesting in another species. Guess which sex is doing it? And guess why?
0.5% of male ruffs disguise themselves as females, mate with other males to distract them from the real females, then mate with the neglected real females. That seems very complicated. What?
So this person right here is what I refer as a book smart idiot. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that this person has like a lot of fucking like knowledge, right? You could tell they went to university, they're fucking formally educated, all that fucking hoopla, but they have no fucking common sense, they have no logic, and they jump to conclusions, they conflate things that don't need to be conflated. And we can see this right here. This conflation of the mirror test is fucking insane. I'm gonna break this down, and for just a little refresher, she did put up a little definition of what the mirror test is, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw it up again for y'all can see. And now look at what she's doing. She is taking a scientific test, which, by the way, has been shown to produce false negatives at times. So it's controversial amongst some scientists, like not everyone. It's, for the most part, I think it's a pretty fucking reliable test. You know, I'm not a scientist though, I just relaying what I've read about the test. But yeah, so she's saying that because Jamie doesn't recognize that fucking bird acting like a female to fuck females is the same thing as trans women, means that Jamie would fail the mirror test. Let's fucking think about this logically for a minute. There's a couple problems with this. If you want someone to recognize their own behavior in something else, they have to fucking agree with you on what they're doing. And no fucking trans person thinks it's a mating strategy. You're weird as shit. You know what you are? You're a fucking loner. You're a loser, and you probably sat there and you had books and you never had human interaction. So you don't understand that humans don't use mating strategies. We're not some fucking stupid animal that is like fully driven by instincts. It is so much more complicated than that. You think the entirety of trans is a mating strategy. I mean, this is so fucking unhinged. And you know what's crazy? It's unhinged shit that's like being covered in a veil of science and medicine. And this is what makes it dangerous, because a lot of people aren't going to think the extra mile. A lot of people just want to have their biases confirmed. A lot of people aren't going to do any research. And when you like come with all this like scientific and medical knowledge, but then your application of that scientific and medical knowledge is shit, your real world application is shit, you are completely failing every mark. There is so many flaws in your logic that I am clearly just pointing out. Like just the fact that like you're one of these people that thinks like fucking humans are like the same as animals or some stupid fucking shit. Probably like it's not even close to that. Like humans are like, we don't just run off of instinct. We have a conscience, we have society, we have morals, we have good and bad, we have a soul. Like any deep thinker, any fucking philosopher has acknowledged that like you look up at the stars, you look up into your heart and shit, and like just feeling like there's something more. And clearly like there's something way more than animals, because animals don't have none of that. Animals don't think about none of that. Animals are just pure survival, you know? Like existentialism, that's like all us, that's all humans. And it's really fucked up that you're like degrading humans and comparing them to animals and shit. It's not right.
What a deceptive little bird.
Super gene reveals birds who pretend to be female as a mating strategy. Who's ever heard of that? A strange wetlands bird has scientists scratching their heads over a baffling genetic bundle that dictates its mating behavior, including whether or not a male will actually look and mimic a female in order to ensure it can score a partner. It is a genetic trait! It's genetic! Some birds are genetically AGPs. When they tell you that it's innate, they're not kidding. It is innate. It's not acceptable, but it's definitely innate. They have a problem. They have a genetic illness, it appears. I don't know if they've found that in humans, that correlation.
You know what? You're actually right. This has been found in humans. However, it's a little bit different, because whenever you find something in animals, it's gonna indicate some sort of survival behavior. It's gonna be something about mating or instincts, like eating, some shit like that, because that's what animals do. But humans they're a little bit more complex, and you know, we're a little bit deeper than that. So right here, this is an article from the New York Post. Scientists discover a link between genes and being transgender. Researchers at the Huston Institute of Medical Research in Melbourne, Australia, have discovered that gender dysphoria may have a biological basis. The study examined the genetic variations of 380 transgender women and compared them to those of non-transgender men. Within the transgender women, they found a significant overrepresentation of 4 genes that are involved in processing sex hormones. This variation suggests a potential biological reason why certain people experience gender dysphoria. Oh my god, maybe trans people being trans is not a mating strategy. Maybe, just let me put this out there. Maybe they're just trying to alleviate their dysphoria and live comfortably. Maybe they don't give a fuck about mating. Maybe some of them are fucking asexual. Maybe some of them are in happy, committed relationships and they just want to feel comfortable as themselves. Anyway, let me finish the rest of this article real quick. Those behind the study propose that these genetic variations can affect the male brain's ability to process androgen, meaning that the brain develops differently in a way that is less masculine and more feminine, contributing to gender dysphoria in transgender women. And I know that this person is fully aware of androgen and why that happens. However, this is what leads me to believe that they're just a hateful bigot, because they'll be like, oh, like you had some androgen insensitivity or androgen disorder or whatever the fuck. Like, but what the fuck is wrong with being trans? What the fuck is wrong with me like coming out and living as my true self? Like, is that such a terrible thing? Because I promise that the motivation is not mating or getting close to females, or is because I can't mate. Because like I said, I got plenty of female attention as a man, and I do not really give a fuck about that.
The sequence difference is larger than the average sequence difference between humans and chimps, so we estimate it occurred at least 4 million years ago. Alterations that have occurred in the supergene may explain why the type of ruffs look and behave so differently. Faders and satellites both have mutations near a gene that breaks down testosterone. So it's possible that changes in the metabolism of testosterone might give rise to this sort of behavior. It might actually give rise to the behavior. Just gonna put that out there. Speculates that an overactive version of the gene explains why those two forms are not aggressively territorial. The satellite supergene also carries mutations that disrupt the gene involved in hair and skin color in many animals, which could be the reason for their distinct white plumage. It's genetic.
Okay, so right there, what you just saw is her going over and breaking down her fucking crazy ass theory about this like super gene that it has evolved in us, and we have this evolved trait to do this as some new mating strategy for the species or whatever. You see how fucking unhinged this is? We're talking about fucking like studying animals and shit, animal research and shit like that, and you're conflating the two. This is why I call this a book smart idiot. This bitch is dumb as fuck. Like, is you for real? Is this what's happening? Like, look, and this is what's the most dangerous about this particular kind of rhetoric, because you acknowledge that it's innate, you acknowledge that it's in our DNA, that it's our biology, but then you go a step further and you say that it's fucking dangerous, that something that is literally essential to me, a trait that is essential to me, is fucking dangerous. You know what that means? You know what you're doing right now? You're calling for a fucking genocide of my people, because if it's just us and it's innate and it's our DNA, we're not faking. You don't think we're faking or no bullshit. You think, oh, is the androgen insensitivity that's yeah, shit is causing this. You're acknowledging that there's a biological basis for why trans people have dysphoria, why trans people experience what they do, but you still have hate and you're still calling for something to be done about this. You are sick and disgusting, and I will expose you for what you're really doing, because I see past all the science and medical bullshit. And I see, and everyone else can see too. And you know what? This is hate speech, and you are calling for genocide of my people. I just want you to understand that. Maybe take a long look at yourself, and maybe that won't matter, because maybe you're too far gone. I want to be fucking reasonable, and I want to work with fucking TERFs, and I want to talk to them. But the more I engage, the more I think that y'all not good faith. You are not trying to talk about the conversation. You are just angry and hate trans people, because even when you know that it's innate to us, you're gonna come up with some shit to say that we're dangerous. And what are you doing? You are fear mongering. You want people to be afraid, and you want something to be done about us, and that is fucking scary. I'm sorry. Peace out, bitches. Hope you have a good day.
So what? I don't get no luck. I don't have no love for an enemy. You is not a friend of me. You are up to me. If you my enemy, then you get burned 3rd degree. Pouring up foes in my fucking soda pop. Fanta pop. You get pop 40 pop on the drop. Got the drop on the fucking ops. I know how to play it day to day. What could I fucking say? I'm fucking great. I'm just trying to fade away. Had to try the harder way. Penny Hardaway. Step back, Curry, fade away. Any day. I was on the block, had to fucking make a way. I was on the block, had to fucking make a way.